Hello and welcome to another episode of Chino and the Hills. I'm your host, Thomas Ryan with Thomas Ryan Real Estate. Welcome to season 2. Back at it this year with Chino and the Hills. And our first episode, very special guest, Katrina Johnson with Dahlia Home. Hi, Katrina.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing well, thanks. Thanks for jumping on here with me. I appreciate you. Appreciate your time, and look forward to picking your brain a little bit on some design topics.
Okay, that sounds great. I'm ready.
Perfect. Why don't you just start off by kind of giving us an introduction of yourself, kind of where you grew up, kind of what led you to the Chino Hills community, maybe some background, family, all that good stuff.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so I'm an LA native, born in LA. I've grown up primarily in West Covina, but I've lived anywhere from San Diego up into UCLA, right? So I have a nice broad spectrum of Southern California. Went to school in Covina, went to UCLA for my undergrad, and then that actually took me to San Diego to work for Northrop Grumman. I don't know if you know of that company.
I'm familiar.
It's an aerospace company.
Yeah.
I did cost planning and project management there. Did it for about 7 years. And then my go-to has always been interior design. It was something I was thinking about before I went to college. I got a construction job working in an office while I was in college. And that really just told me, like, this is really where I want to go. So after having my second child, I decided to stay home. And then I started my business from the ground up. And it's been about 5 years now. So, so always have been an avid fan, always constantly learning. I go to seminars, I go to trade shows. And I've really pivoted it so that this is just my passion. And I've put everything I have into it. So it's been really good so far.
Got it. You led me in my next question. Kind of what's your involvement in the community, Chino Hills? What is the business that you own, and kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I own an interior design studio here in Chino. It's currently based out of my home. I've been running it for 5 years.
All businesses are currently based out of
yeah,
home.
Right. That's right. I always forget that. Like, now that's the new normal. So
yeah,
we're all at home now. Now you guys know what I do. The kids running around all the time. And it's been a good year. It's been there's a lot of people renovating their homes right now. We're spending a lot of time inside, so kind of picking at those things that we were like, oh, we'll do later, and a lot of it's happening now. So
definitely, we'll get into those a little bit later in the conversation.
Sounds good.
So tell me, how long have you been in the industry, and did anything like kind of ease you into it, or did you just kind of go full fledged, or like how did that?
It was so that construction job that I had in high school. The company was primarily based in kitchen and baths. So, but more on the higher end. So there was a lot of detail that needs to be involved in planning and sourcing items, and just this whole idea of creating a space that people can enjoy while figuring out all the nitty gritty in the back, like, really made me think, like, this is something I want to do. I think there's a voice that's missing when there's the contractor and there's the client, and they have these ideas, and yes, the contractor knows what he's doing. I'm all for that. And can get the logistics that are behind the walls, whether we're talking about plumbing or electrical. But I do think if you're looking for peace and function and everything to be cohesive, there does need to be this creative component to kind of see those fine lines and kind of get you what it is that you need and translate it into something that's really you're going to enjoy for a long time.
Got it. So let's get into it. What everybody's coming to listen or watch this podcast, what are the trends for 2021?
Okay, so a lot that's been happening. What you will start seeing more in everyone's homes is we're starting to whiten and brighten the insides. That could be from going from a creamy white wall, or we're talking about white cabinetry in the kitchen. Um, Very subtle, serene colors. So whether it's like a light gray to a warm cream, um, something in the beige region that's not from like the 90s, but a little softer, and there's a little neutral warmth. Those will be very popular for interior walls, and just getting that really serene feeling in the inside. Um, there's also a lot of what I find interesting, and it has to do with everyone being home, is there's a lot of custom millwork or like woodwork that people are requesting, whether it's cabinets or it's floating shelves. Everyone's really focusing on how to best utilize their space at home now that everyone's working and going to school and hanging out with the dog all day. There's just a lot going on now. So a lot of people concentrating on that. What else? I've seen that people are, now that spring is coming, we're going to spend a lot of time outdoors. Bringing that third space, that outdoor space, really utilizing it. So whether it's investing money in, say, a pergola or an outside structure to give you shade so you can have that outdoor space, that's going to be something that's really popular. Getting, whether you're reseeding your grass or adding new plants, that would be a good time, probably in the next month, to get that going. So by summertime, you have something established and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on a big question of mine. Obviously, I'm in the real estate space, and we're hearing a lot of things with obviously a lot of people working from home, and they're even making moves to more suburban areas and without
Mhm.
being in the epicenter of cities and stuff like that. It's obviously giving them the ability to have a larger home, larger spaces, some flex spaces,
Yes.
multi-use spaces, and stuff like that. What have you seen, heard, had requested as far as that's concerned? I mean, like Zoom rooms and school from home or work from
Yeah.
home. What are some of those
Some
things?
things that I have seen, just it's dependent on your size. But like a typical house, I think in Chino Hills is probably, I would say, around, we can go anywhere from like 1,800 to 2,200 square feet.
Yeah,
You
average
know,
size.
they get
Yeah,
bigger and smaller, but
yeah.
with those, I've had requests for custom desks, right? So locating an area in the home that we can have maybe one or two people at a time working kind of at a workstation.
Hmm.
So trying to implement that. We've seen um, there needs to be more like bookshelves and shelving, whether it's in the living room or even near the dining room. The dining room has become the new workstation.
Yeah.
So having something there in those rooms to just kind of tuck away, whether it's the laptops from the kids' school or files that you may have in a box, right? We're just getting those away, and I'm finding that a lot of organization, whether it's the pantry or the garage, really important to help utilize this space so that we can all, I don't know, work freely and function properly as if we were at home or at school.
While at the same time like enjoying the space you're in, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
gone are the days of like the metal filing cabinet in the
Yes,
closet or like wherever in the house, right? Like
right.
there, I would imagine there's we're constantly living and working in the same space, so you kind of want to enjoy that space. So shift from those types of things to more ergonomic and more design
Yes,
function storage
yes,
spaces.
definitely. There's more possibilities than staples, but as your go-to for office furniture. But yes, things that are a little more than utilization, right? More of a beyond a basic foundation. People are a little more selective in what their desk looks like. How will it function for everyone? Does it have enough space? So yeah, so you have a lot of that going on right now.
Got it. So with that, what are some design or paint, as you kind of talked
Hmm.
about 90s paint, what are some design and paint mistakes that homeowners can make when they're doing some, whether it's
I think
DIY or a full-on project?
right. So I love and use Pinterest just like every modern woman I think does today. Some men too.
Yeah.
But what's great and not so great about that is that there's a lot of resources as to what paint color should I paint my bedroom or my living room. The issue with paint is that it's so um, particular to a space. Like
Mm.
you can go online and you could say what's the top 5 colors, and you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy little samples and start using them all. Um, and that will get you a result. I think you'll find something, but you're gonna need sometimes there's these undertones in paint that can really determine what the color is that you really need to pay attention to. And so something as easy as a white paint can either be too yellow or too blue or too green. So I've taken courses so that I can navigate that for clients and really just pinpoint what will work in their space. Because we're talking about lighting, whether your lighting is more of a yellow tone or a blue tone. You got to look at the fabrics in your room. What's currently in the space, and that's going to determine what kind of colors you have. But still a lot of white. Some of my favorite colors are from Sherwin-Williams. There is alabaster, which is a nice warm white. And then there's Chantilly lace, and that one is another go-to that I use all the time. They really don't have a lot of those undertones in there and can go into almost every space.
I know that experience very well. We went to paint one of our rooms, and it was like the guest room in the house, and we must have tried like 12 different grays,
Yeah.
and we did not want a grayish blue or a grayish purple lavender. We
Yeah.
wanted a true gray. We couldn't get
Mm-hmm.
it. And you put it on a sample in the store, you put it on a sample in another room, and looks great. And then this, I don't know, it was just the
Yep.
lighting, and I
Yep.
gave up and I just went with with a simple white for the room.
There you go.
I know this.
Sometimes, yeah, it has to do with
Sure.
the lighting, and then it has to do with how much sunlight comes in. I mean, yeah, it can sometimes be daunting.
Yeah.
And gray in particular, it can get blue or purple or brown or any other color but gray. So
Yeah.
I totally understand.
Yeah, for sure. Um, when it comes to budget, like obviously home renovations, depending upon the size of the project, can be, they can cost a pretty penny.
Mhm.
How do you navigate kind of coming up with a budget? Obviously you can just get quotes, the typical get 3 quotes type thing and go with it. But how do how do you
Well,
budget?
yeah. So the budget for any project or renovation, whether you're painting your room just to get a quick little fix update to your home, or you're going to redo your kitchen that hasn't been touched in 25 years. Still things you have to think about. And I think budget, even though we can say we have a number, or clients will like have this basic idea, I would say about 9 out of 10 people who come to me don't have an idea of what their budget is. Or they have this amount of money, but they don't know what to do with it or how much can they get with that money. So I help the people out with that by, there's a couple of ways. I help them establish a budget according to their project, according to keywords that they tell me,
Mm.
whether it's, they're more budget oriented, they're more design, they want to see something with a little more style, and how they use it, how many kids they have, whether they have animals, all of these things determine what product you're going to get. So to get a budget, we have to think about what it is, whether it's flooring or kitchen cabinets, and getting a ballpark number. I already have budgets in place, whether it's for flooring or kitchens or bedrooms or living rooms, and I have a high-low budget for that. And according to what people tell me, I will kind of navigate them and give them this rough estimate at the very beginning, saying, your house is 2,000 square feet. You want a mid-range project, it's going to cost you $15,000 to $20,000, dependent on how fancy the wood is and how fancy your contractor is. So,
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
um, So things like that. So that's one of the very first things we touch on when we get our clients. That's the first thing we discuss. So we are both comfortable with what a project's going to be. It's usually when people come to me and ask me, I'm interested in doing my kitchen. What is it going to cost? And sticker shock, when I have to say, well, you want to change the layout and you want to change the flooring and you want these nice cabinets, $50,000 is going to get that. $70,000 if you move a wall. And I mean this, and I get it all the time, this sheer shock and this number as if like I was, I'm taking it all. But no, it's good though, because then you have realistic expectations as to what's going to go on with the project going forward, and you can see that and understand that once we have that budget in place and we're comfortable with the numbers. Then you can start looking for what services you need, and then you're able to go forward with that. If you have a plan, you're going to do 10 times better than just, like you said, calling 3 people up and saying, sure, give me this idea. And I have 10 ideas to do instead of the one I truly need, right? So
Right. Yeah. I mean, you led me right into my next question, kind of like, how can, obviously with budgeting, obviously communication with your contractors, go into a little bit how an interior designer can, really aid you in the process, the project, the renovation, and how do you choose that right person?
yeah.
Obviously it's going to be Katrina, but
Yeah, I would hope you would like to say that. Yes.
but if you're in Connecticut, you're listening
it's
to
a little
this.
harder.
Yeah.
Yes. So I would say, there are so many great interior designers, and there's a wide spectrum of people, just like there's a wide spectrum of clients, right? And so kind of marrying the two so that you're compatible. It's really great when you're on the phone. Well, first of all, call the interior designer that you would like to speak with. I think being on the phone with, whether it's a firm or the actual designer themselves, but being on the phone and being able to discuss your project and kind of feeling what that rapport is really important, because you guys, we got to get along in order to go through the next 3 to 8 months together, right?
Yeah.
My sole purpose when I come onto a project is to help facilitate what it is that you want done. A lot of the times we can get very wishy-washy, or once the walls are open, people are like, oh, I would like to touch this and I would like to touch this. And then the numbers keep creeping up.
Yeah.
So my job is kind of to say, okay, we can do that, but let's talk about the budget that we put in place. Do you have this magical $20,000?
And it's not like on HGTV where every time they get the yes answer,
Yeah.
randomly you need a new HVAC system. It's
Exactly. Don't worry about it.
we can put 500 into it, but if we really, all right, go ahead, give me 10, no problem.
Exactly.
Find it.
No, we all don't have this magical money
Yeah.
over here. I wish. So my goal is to best utilize the budget that you do have in place, right? Making sure that, let's say it's a kitchen renovation, and a lot of the aesthetic and the outward appearance, it does matter, but there's so much that goes into a kitchen before you even get to that place. But I would guide you and say, we're 75% in the project, and I know you really like this tile, but at $20 a square foot, you can, but it'll cost you a lot more. What about this as an alternative, right? So my goal is to kind of get these solutions in front of you. And also what I do love that I do that I think is kind of funny, that people don't, it's not this thing that people often say, but I help narrow down people's decisions, and I say, here are 3, choose one. And I think for a lot of people, there's this fright, or there's this like hesitation, and nothing will get done for years because they can't make that choice. And so my whole job is to kind of get you to do that so that it's more easy, so you have a better flow and you're more like confident in your decision. I really think when you get into these projects and you start opening walls and people start talking a different language to you and you don't understand, it can get very overwhelming. And so my job is to make this experience um, pleasurable, as if construction can be that, but really kind of handhold and guide you. And once questions start coming in from the contractors or the vendors, being able to be your go-to solution and giving you those answers so you're more confident making your decisions.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, you drive down State College in Anaheim, and it can be
It,
quite overwhelming with the
yes,
millions of tiles. Like, how are
yes.
you going to pick a backsplash? Like
Mm-hmm.
which store do I go to? Stuff like that. So
Yes.
that's huge. Again, a personal experience. We had a situation where we had one store that we were getting our actually countertops from, and tile
Mm-hmm.
actually for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
It made it so much easier because it's
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, there's still a lot, but hey, this is where we're getting it. So
Yeah.
just to narrow that down was huge for sure. So
Yeah.
that makes a lot of
Exactly.
sense, especially when you have a styled eye, giving you three
Mm-hmm.
styled great options. Like, how can
Mm-hmm.
you go wrong? It just boils down to like what's your personal preference out of these three. It makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So how can people best get in touch with you? You said give them a call. You're on Instagram, Facebook. Where
I'm
are we
on
at?
Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I have my own website. My website is www.dahliahomeco.com. And on Instagram, you can follow, it's dahliahome.co. And I believe it's the same on Facebook. Yeah, so I have on my website lists my phone number and my email for contact information on there too. Under prospective clients, you can kind of see the pricing that I have for the services that I provide, as well as a budget questionnaire and a new client inquiry form. So these are just basic questions that I have everyone answer because it kind of helps me navigate where it is that you need to go in terms of what services I can provide for you. And every project or service that I do, I always start with a design consultation. That gets me to your home, and we just talk all nitty gritty design dilemmas, what your future project may be, or I want to paint my house, and the painter's coming in a week, and I need colors, right?
Yeah.
So if with a design consultation, I can solve that for you. I can be there. I can give you the colors, and you can send those to your painter, and be done. Because you can't make the decision between the 12 grays you brought home. So,
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
that's what I can do. So,
Perfect. Did we miss anything?
um,
Probably, but that's what
yeah,
the
but that's okay.
consultation's for.
I'm
Yeah.
always readily available. I really hope I can come back again next time. I don't know, like maybe talk a little more about, I would love to see like what people are interested in asking,
Yeah.
whether for design, because everyone has such a certain, different needs, right?
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
have, and I would love to just see like what people are kind of stirring with, like what are they trying to figure out? But,
Makes sense. Like high design versus function versus
right.
combo of both versus, yeah, makes a lot of
Mm-hmm.
sense for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well, that's business side. Let's get a little community oriented. What do you like best about Chino and Chino Hills?
Oh, okay. So I've lived here for, I think it's been 5 years now. So we transplanted and ended up here, and we bought our first home here, here in Chino. I love it. My first thing, so I've lived all over Southern California, but this, I would say Chino and Chino Hills is the first community
Hmm.
that I feel like I've been in, meaning I know my neighbors. The kids that go to my kids' schools, like we have play dates. This whole idea like wasn't something I really didn't experience till I got here, and it's probably my favorite part. Just knowing like whether I go to the store or we have kids practice and then we go somewhere else, like I'm always going to see someone, and we're just all going through this similar stage in life with the kiddos. And I don't know, just everyone here to me is really, their intention is to take care of their home,
Hmm.
whether it's spiritually, physically, or just keep this loving relationship with their family members. I don't know. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if that's too much, but I just like that part. Or the sense of community where people are really close to each other and help each other out. I've had so many experiences with that.
That's interesting. The common answer to that question has been the people, right? And
Mhm.
which is, I mean, that's such an obvious one, but that was definitely a little more like an aside from a similar answer, but like the actual community of like the people and the versus an alternative city. You can live in
Mhm.
San Diego, you can live in LA, or even a smaller subset of LA. And
Mhm.
yeah, to a certain extent, but I would have to agree for sure,
Yeah.
on that specific aspect of the people,
Mhm.
kind of coming together. So quick fast fireball question: Home Depot
Okay.
or Lowe's?
Ooh, I go Home Depot.
All right,
I
all right,
probably spend every Saturday at Home Depot buying something to fix my house or do a project for someone else. So Home
got
Depot.
it. And then last one, number one go-to food spot, coffee shop, froyo, whatever it is in Chino or Chino Hills.
Okay, my favorite little coffee shop is the Dirty Penguin in Chino Hills. Have you ever been there?
I've walked in there once. I
Uh-huh.
might have got a coffee once, but I think I walked in there randomly one time. But
And you felt confused, or did you
I
buy a coffee?
I think so. I'm trying to remember if I actually bought a coffee, or if I was just poking my head in after going to Roscoe's or something.
Yeah,
But
yeah, maybe you got
yeah,
lost going to the car,
yeah,
but
same parking lot as Roscoe's right there. But yeah, explain the
yeah.
confusion. Explain the confusion
Yeah,
for
yeah,
someone who
no,
hasn't been
I
there.
mean, it's a cute little coffee shop that I've been going early on in my career when I needed to get out of the house. That was like my go-to spot to do work, and I met clients there. And so just for me, just a fun little spot. Kind of reminds me of like Pasadena, kind of like this upscale coffee shop, but everyone's really friendly. The owner is really great. They have this area curtailed just to like little kids, so perfect for me.
Right.
Perfect to meet up.
Yeah.
So that's my little go-to spot.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the information. I'm like I said, we definitely missed a lot. I'm sure of it, and at the same time, like a lot of it's, I would imagine, very very particular to the specific person, the specific home, and stuff like that. So it's hard to kind of just lump it all in. But
Yeah, I mean, overall though, just I would say, I guess the difference between getting like an interior designer or like free design from a store is that custom personal component.
yeah,
I can't put a, you know, we can compare myself to the free services at Home Depot or Lowe's or at Floor and Decor, but it's not going to be the same because I go to your house, I get to know you, I, see what's the whole like fabric behind what is going on with this project
yeah.
versus just seeing it as these four walls you're trying to clean up.
You see the kids taking a hammer to the floor and
Yeah,
the furniture, and we're gonna need something a
yeah.
little more durable. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
totally.
yeah.
I know where to
Perfect.
go for that. So,
Perfect. Well, thanks again for
uh-huh.
joining me. Thanks to you, everybody, listening in, watching in for our first episode of season 2 of Chino in the Hills. Until next time, have a good day. Bye.